Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is...
Good evening, Huge Pop Wrestling fans. It's your host, Huge Pop, and on my right is the Midwest Gaming Classic Champion out of one of them Wisconsin, but from Iowa, Johnny Cass. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, doing wonderful, man. I'm doing really good. Glad to have you on Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. It's just gonna be some simple questions. Where when did you start in wrestling?
Well, there's three different parts to that actually. The first part, I would say it started around when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I got to watch SummerSlam. It's the first time I watched wrestling with my dad and my brothers. And SummerSlam '92, I believe, the one where Savage and Elizabeth got married. And I'm not gonna lie, when I when I watched the part where they're opening gifts and then they brought out the snake, and scared the crap out of me, and I see Jake Roberts right there, and I was like, oh man, like it scared me, but it was like, I don't know, something about Macho Man just kind of just resonated with me. It's like I wanted him to beat Jake the Snake up, and that's what wrestling was all about. And I was like, I got to see this. I got to see what happens. And then from there on, it just went from Jake the Snake to Macho Man to Ultimate Warrior to Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan was pretty much uh, one of my childhood heroes growing up. And funny enough, he's not. None of those guys are like the ones that got me to wanting to be a wrestler. Like those were my heroes growing up. I want to say around the middle of the Attitude Era is when the Hardys came in. You had Kai and Ty, you had the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, all those high flyers and stuff, and they had the TLC historic TLC matches. And I was just blown away and mesmerized at what those guys could do. And I was like, man, I want to do something like that one day. I want to try and see if I can, do what they do. And that kind of stuck with me all the way up through high school. And after you know how when you're in school, in grade school and middle school and high school, they have like a yearly thing, a meeting. It's kind of like a parent teacher conference, and the teachers would always ask you, like, what do you want to do after high school? And my answer was always the same, and I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And I got the same responses from all of my teachers all the way up through high school, saying, that's a nice dream and all, but you got to be realistic here. And I understand that from a point of view, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm going to find a way to do this.
So you mentioned Hogan and Savage and Jake the Snake. Those are the guys I grew up with. Watched Hogan from Andre Giant, Roddy Piper area, all the way to the WO, happened to be my favorite era. And then you mentioned the Hardys. So would you say that your favorite wrestlers up were the Hardys, that era, Attitude Era? Would that be wrestlers they're from?
Yes, I'd have to. I'll admit it. All of my brothers and my whole family will tell you like I was the biggest Hardy Boys fan, growing up because of not only what Jeff could do, but it was Matt and Jeff, and they were both real life brothers, and it was kind of cool watching Raw, Monday Night Raw, or the pay-per-views with my brother, because we kind of like were like, we could do that one day, maybe. But I was the one that was like stuck to it, and I wanted to kind of see if I could actually do it. The real quick though, it's like I always wanted to do it. I never really had the motivation after high school because I kind of wanted to take a break from everything, but then that just kind of led into like other stuff going on, if you know what I mean,
Right.
drinking, hanging out with friends that weren't really doing good stuff or motivating or anything like that. But I'll be honest with you, the last 2 years of my life, like this happened in 2020. It was my last relationship that I've been in, and that's when I've had enough of everything that was going on in my life. I said, you know what, it's time for me to start thinking about me and what I want, and taking care of my two kids that I have as well. And I sat down and I talked to my kids and I said, "Hey, this is what Dad's gonna do. I'm just gonna try out, see if I can do it and handle it." And they were like, "Does that mean?" The first thing that came out of their mouths was like, "Does that mean you're gonna be on TV?" And I said, "Nah, I don't know. Maybe one day. Who knows? You never know." And so there was I called around, and of course, up here in Iowa in Davenport, um, everybody knows about the Black and Brave Academy. It's Seth Rollins' wrestling school. And I reached out to them. I talked to them about it. I toyed with the idea. They're like, "Yeah, if you want to do it, it's X amount, up front, and then the other X amount you have to pay, um, on your first day." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good. Could I at least come down, take a bump, see if my body can handle it, because I was about 30 years old at the time." And they were like, "Well, we can't really let anybody in the facility or anything like that. You just got to show up." I was like, "All right." I was going to think about just saying, screw it, doing it that way. But then I kind of reached out to other promotions around Iowa, and this place called Impact Wrestling, representing,
Yeah, there you go.
um, they told me to come down, spend about an hour and a half in the ring with one of their trainers, to see if I can take a couple of bumps, or a suplex or anything like that. And the first time I took a suplex is when I knew that I was going to do this. It was when I knew my body could take it. I knew I was going to push myself for this. And I got to thank my trainer James Jeffries and Travis Shellington for giving me the motivation and mentoring me through my schooling that they pretty much gave on to me. And um, I graduated after 6 months. 4 months. It was a 16-week program. 4 months after that, I graduated, and I've been having fun since. I have more wins under my belt than I do losses. I've had a lot of fun doing a few battle royals around Iowa and Wisconsin, and this is just the beginning. I'll be honest with you, man. I feel like I've accomplished so much already, and this is I just completed my first year in the professional wrestling business.
You mentioned Iowa, and I'm a TikTok guy. I think you do much TikTok.
I dabble with it every once in a while, yeah.
So you said Iowa, and I believe there's a company that I hear content creator on there, the Rugged Pro Wrestling. Are you aware of any of that stuff with Backwood? Backwood, any of those guys?
Yeah, I am. I am. I actually checked out a few of their shows, while I was in training and then after I graduated. And I'm a nerd. You can see behind me right here. I got a bunch of old school video games that I've collected over the years, and it's one of the things that I hold dear to my heart: video games, wrestling, and music, because it was pretty much there for me when I was a kid, when I wanted an escape. And I get a little bit of gruff here and there from the other guys around Iowa and other promotions, a little bit, calling me a nerd and you need to grow up and do all this crap and forget all that stuff. You're an adult, you're a parent. But I mean, their opinions don't really matter to me. I mean, if they don't like it, that's cool. I'm cool with it. But it's what I love to do.
Great, that's great. So, you think you'll ever get tired of working shows? Because I mean, I know I'm affiliated with them. Seems like those guys are just traveling every week, go to a different show just to get into a show. And it seems like a lot of road time. Do you ever get tired of the road time, or don't you traveling?
I'll be honest with you. So in the beginning, it felt like every place that I've traveled to so far, I've been to Nebraska, all over Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I'm actually going to be making my debut in Illinois, outside of Chicago, a couple hours outside of Chicago, this Saturday. Um, and I haven't been to Missouri yet. I heard that you have to have a wrestling license in Missouri, which I do plan on getting here soon. And probably going to focus on doing a little bit of branching out in 2023. But once I started traveling, because I live on the borderline of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois, and I had to travel from my hometown to Des Moines, which is about a 3 hour drive there and another 3 hour drive back. And I had to do that when I was in school every Saturday. And this was during the winter too. Yeah. So it got a little tiring at first, but after the first 2 months, like I want to say 3 hours of driving feels like an hour to me because you get so used to it. You get so used to driving the road. I mean, it's not, you still get a little bit tired, but it doesn't really hit me like it used to.
Okay.
I think sooner or later down the road, I will eventually probably just get tired of traveling all the time. But as long as I stay motivated, as long as I stay hydrated and willing to wrestle and willing to work, I'm willing to put in the miles.
I'm going to hit on something you talked about later on in the show. You have this event coming up Saturday.
Yep.
Certain individual that had some things he wanted to talk to you about through me. So we're going to come back at that. So keep that fresh in your mind this
Okay.
Saturday in Illinois.
All right.
Do you have any close friends that, like wrestling friends that you just hang out with and us wrestling? Who just
Uh, well, I'd have to say some of the people that I trained with. Um, let's see. I'm trying to remember their names. There's so many people that I've met, especially recently. Um, Jay Wesley, I went to school with him. He's I think he's 20 or 21 years old, and he's really really good. He's an up and coming star, and he's got a lot of good talent. And let's see, there's that. There's Cole Cannon. He's, oh my god, for his size, he's amazing. And I'm talking like he ain't big or anything, but he's got some muscle on him, and the way like he's bigger than me, like taller than me too, and he can just he can move like anywhere. He can hit you with anything out of anywhere, and he's just amazing. Another guy that I want to talk about too is Ricky Bronson. Like he's just so energetic when he comes out there, and he gets the fans riled up. Whether sometimes he's a good guy, but I think mainly he's more on the bad side. But either way, he's an amazing talent, and I hope to have the chance and opportunity to wrestle him one day.
so what is one of your favorite matches that you had in your?
Uh, let's see. I gotta say, I gotta say, my first wrestling match that I had, it was at a fair. It was at a county fair, probably about 2.5 hours from my hometown. It was against Jay Wesley, and I got to see what he learned and what he actually was like in the ring. And working with him was really easy. Like I don't know, I just felt everything that we showed off in the ring that we could do just mixed really really well, and the fans loved it. And it was my first time, hearing everybody chant for me. It was my first time, you know people coming up to me wanting to take pictures with me. It was a great feeling. And then I want to say this too real quick. um and I was in a battle royal for BCW, Bruce City Wrestling, ran by Frankie DeFalco. He's a legend. some people call him a jobber. He's probably going to give me crap for saying that, but I don't see him that way. I see him as a legend. He got to wrestle Shawn Michaels when he was in the AWA when he was 20 years old, and that to me is just mind blowing. And he understands like what that would mean to me. You know, wrestling for someone's promotion with that kind of a background. You know, and so I was in a battle royal for him at a fair show back in August, I think 23rd, and there was what was her name? I can't remember her name, and it's probably going to get a lot of crap for this too. But she was on AEW a few times,
Huh?
and I made the first elimination in that battle royal, and it happened to be her.
Oh, you can't remember her name? Come on,
No, I can't.
come on, man.
Oh
I'm
man.
gonna give you shit for that.
Yeah, yeah, I deserve it. I can't remember her name. It'll come to me though sooner or later.
All right, that's good, man. She's probably on your on your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, right?
Of up and coming, yeah.
Up and coming, yeah. As a fan, I find it's hard to have just thing guy. I love Hogan eras, you know. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
Oh man. I would have to say Hogan, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, and Jeff Hardy.
I love Jeff Hardy. I love that. I'll talk all day about him, and he's just care what he. I do care because get used to wrestlers; they become part of your life. You know, so you think about him out. You know what he's going through and stuff, and you see him coming back. You see him getting through this and be having it and coming back.
I hope. I mean, I think they deserve at least one more run in whether it's in. I don't think they'll go back to WWE, but whether it's in WWE or AEW, I think they got one last good run in them, and it would be kind of cool to see them capture the AEW tag titles.
So, who's that one up and coming wrestler that you've been seeing around that should make the main roster? Should be looking out for on the team.
You mean around my area or?
The people you know, people you've heard about, and just in the indies. There's one guy in the indies. Guys.
Um, I'd have to say one of my favorites around here, and he's been in the business for at least I think 15 years, and it's a guy called Jossie, and he was on AEW and WWE before, and just the way that he his character is, and the way that he brings it out, especially in the ring, even outside of the ring, is just like some of the best work I've seen.
Who would be your dream match? I mean, anybody, Hardy, anybody, you name it.
Uh, man, anybody. I'd have to say Jeff Hardy in his prime.
And
His if it came down to it, I would probably end up losing because I'd want to push myself to it would probably be a match with him back when he was a hardcore champion in the WWF days. I'd like to just have him push me to the point to see how much I could take before I lost my match.
okay. Any advice you would have for? I work with take care of kids foster care guys growing up, and you have any advice for the rest of the becoming a professional wrestler? Any kind of advice? What?
Oh yeah. Always follow your dreams. Don't ever let anybody talk you down. Uh, no matter what your dreams are, it could be anything besides wrestling. But for me, it was wrestling, and I've got crapped on a ton, when I was a kid, going up into high school, even after high school. But I knew one day that that's something that I wanted to do. When I first went to the tryout in Des Moines, I kind of had to as I was walking up the stairs to get into the ring, I kind of had to just stop and like take it in because it's like I've been waiting my whole life, at least since I was 8 to 9 years old, to step into a wrestling ring, and I'm actually doing it. And that's when it just hits. And I didn't care what anybody thinks. I mean, it's all about what makes you happy in the end. It's all about what makes you happy. Some people just don't want to, I guess, not think like that or think like I do. But I mean, you gotta have that passion. You gotta have that drive. You gotta have that thing that when you wake up in the morning and just being excited to go work out or to go eat healthy or prepare for something. You gotta have that drive. You have to have that passion.
Yeah, true. And when did you said it? What, 2 years ago? Is that when you got that? You're done. I take care of myself. I'm gonna do this for me. That say that was the turning point of your career.
Yeah. Yep.
That I'm done. I'm gonna live for myself from now on. I'm gonna eat the healthy stuff. Go to the gym, work in because what I want, no matter what, hands down.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man. Do you have a favorite venue that you wrestled in back here in?
It's a venue in Waterloo called the Five Sullivan Brothers Event Center,
Okay.
and it was the first time I actually got to go into a big place like that. And there was probably, I think, 700 or more people there, and just walking out to the ring. I was in a battle royal at that place, and just walking out to the ring, they had the whole entrance get up there with the video in the background and music playing, and it was just mesmerizing. It was like I'm finally here. That was like my reality check. And it's like I'm here.
Awesome, man. Have you ever been in a ring with the big guys? Any of the big? I don't know. I don't like calling. See, I am from a different. I think my process is different. I believe guys in the indies are just as big as the guys on TV. So I can't. I hate asking the question, "Hey, have you bumped elbows with big guys?" Because I don't see them any different than you guys. Because you guys are all putting in the work. You guys all still have to train. You still have to eat vitamins, healthy, all that stuff that Hulk Hogan. You
Yep.
still have to do that. I don't care if you're in the AEW, WWE, Indies, whatever. But I guess I'm gonna ask the question: have you ever rubbed elbows?
I have unfortunately not yet. I just completed my first year into the business and looking forward to my second year. Maybe in 2023, that would be something to look into. I would be ecstatic to get into the ring with anybody that's been on TV. But I have attended seminars to where I would be trained by Too Cold Scorpio or Cowboy Bob Orton or Bully Ray, to ask questions about the business, to show them, what I've learned or what I know, put on a match for them, like a 3 to 5 minute match for them. It was an amazing experience.
Um, um, when you're not wrestling, the game's behind you. When you're not wrestling, what's the off day consist?
Uh, well, let's see. Sometimes I like to kind of just keep to myself, and I'll pull out my Sega or my Super Nintendo and just kind of
That's
play
classic.
video games the old school way.
That classic, man.
And yeah, You can't beat the classics. And or on the opposite end of that, when I have an off day and I kind of want to be a little social, I'll go onto my PS5 and play some games with my family and friends. I like Destiny 2, poker games, like online poker games with my buddies, and stuff like that.
Son, he's a gamer as well. He does YouTube, Twitch stream of Classic Native was his name. He streams like Roblox and Pokemon games and et cetera, et cetera. I've lived around gamer for. He's 28 years old. Yeah, now he has kids, so streaming is
Wow.
like different.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
streams when he can. So
Yep.
yeah. So. You watch any other sports?
I watch football when I can. I'm a Bears fan. Uh, I like to watch other games too. Sometimes I'll go out with a couple of friends to the bar and watch the games out there, and just shoot the crap.
Don't hold this against me. I'm a Lions fan.
And that's all good, man. Everybody likes what they like.
My family was born and raised in. Somebody got smart and moved. Now I got some. Get off the topic of wrestling. I got some kids, like I said, care for, and one of them wants to know what's fast food joint are you hitting up on the road? What you order?
I don't know if this would be considered fast food or not, but I absolutely love Subway.
Okay.
And I love their Subway Club sandwiches. They're the best.
Okay. I know that. Question: is wrestling fake?
No.
Okay.
And people, and here's the thing: is that people, I especially my coworkers, they like, oh, what are you doing that fake stuff for? I get crapped on all the time, and I tell them, you know what? It's a storyline. That's the only thing that's fake about it is the storylines. And I keep telling them too. I'm like, whenever you guys want to, if you guys feel up to it, come down and take a suplex or a bump or get tossed out of the ring through the ropes. It takes a toll on you.
Yeah. And you see that. I think you see a lot of that more. At least for me. I am hooked up with XIW Extreme Impact Wrestling, the Panhandle, Adrian Whisper as the stuff like that, and I've been to 5 of their events, and so see how realistic this stuff is. I mean, the hits that these guys take are unreal, right in front of you. But of course, at a live at a WWE event or AEW event, up high, you just see all the action, and to sit there in the second row and you just skin pop, hear the thuds. Oh my God, I don't. Even if it was the storyline was that's the fake part of it, that still hurts. It's gotta hurt.
Oh yeah, I found that. I found that on my graduate. I found that out. Sorry, I found that out the hard way on my graduation day when they actually put us in there with some of the guys and stuff, and they were like, "All right, you wanna have like a chop fest with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So give him a chop, he chops me, I give him another chop. We go back and forth until the other person, kind of just has had enough. And of course I had enough, and then I wanted to see how to take kicks to the chest, and they fucking boom, 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 like they full on like go, you know, you
Yeah,
got kick pads, yeah, but it still hurts.
it
It
does.
still kills, man.
Imagine.
Especially, yeah, especially when you take a suplex and it's like all of the impact goes up into the upper part of the back, into the shoulders, sometimes the lower part of the back, and especially when you get thrown out of the ring, and you land on the floor hard, it's just got to be careful.
I know. I mean, I watch TV and on the floor pads. All the indie wrestling events I've ever been, guys land on a concrete floor, so no
Oh yeah.
pads there. So I mean, I know. If there was one thing that you could change about the wrestling business,
Um, it would be to give not all, not half, but some creative to all the talent, so that they could be heard on their ideas, just to see that if the higher ups would think that, hey, this could work, this could be something huge, you know.
Do you think promos are just as important in ring skill?
Yes, I do.
I think
There's
there's a couple guys on the big TV. If they had mic skills, I think they'd be a whole lot better of a wrestler. Some of them guys can't talk worth a crap. And I just was asking. I was curious if you thought that mic skills are just as
Oh yeah, definitely. Because when you're getting interviewed, or you're cutting a promo before a match or leading up to a match, when you're talking into the camera, it's the volume of your voice, it's the way you look, it's the how pissed are you at this guy about what he did to you in the past, and then you got this big match coming up. You have to. It's all about acting and reacting, and when it comes to the promo work, because we're telling a story and we want it to mean something, and we want to invest in the fans just as much as the fans want to invest in us, and that is what makes it possible to bring out the best story, possible.
right. Um, what are your? How would you feel? How would it make you feel? I mean, I just got my recent issue. How would you feel to someday on that top 500?
Oh man, that would be a bucket list thing for me. Like, words wouldn't be able to describe how happy that would make me feel, knowing that I actually made it onto a magazine that's lasted through decades, and just to be a part of something, even if I was number 500, that would just blow me away.
I'm excited, man. I'm going to thank you ahead of time. I thank you coming on here and sharing the emotion. How and that when you the way you answered that question was promos. I appreciated the promo you have. I have it saved in my. I will talk about that promo at the end.
Okay.
What are your aspirations for 2020? What is your got to be starting to plan for 20? Obviously,
Oh yeah, I want to get out there more. I want to kind of work on my in-ring abilities, as well. You never stop learning in the business, and you never. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. You never stop learning. And there's a couple of indie guys that have taught me that, and they are 110% correct about that.
you
And
Sean.
I
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But
And another thing too, I want to try to get out a little bit more as well. Like, I kind of want to just wrestle. I want to have more matches. I want to be in more cities. I want to hit up more states. I want to get my wrestler's license in Missouri and wherever else that requires it. So those are all my goals in 2023. And
now
I
do
want
you
to say, like, since 2020, I've been checking off a lot of goals on my list so far. So
do you work anywhere else? Do you have a shoot job? I suppose.
I do.
In 30 years, what do you hope people will say about you? Long time away.
um, I hope, even if I never make it, in the wrestling business, like, at least I want to try to, like, kind of make myself not like a legend or anything, but kind of known, at least around Iowa, as one of the guys that could work, one of the guys that was dedicated. Whenever I go to a show, I always help with ring setup. putting chairs out for people to come and for when the show's ready. I wanna try to be the first person there and the last person to leave.
I have talked to guys like Billy Willie W, Wildcat Chris Harris, ROH Shane Taylor, a couple other Indians. They've always said that started out like you. They were the ones that were there setting up setting up the taking down the ring. The Indies and starting out, you do that stuff because you love the sport of wrestling and you want to be around it all. That's the truth. That how that goes. There to do and if whatever it takes to.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, ever since day one, like when I got invited to go to the my first IPW show, it was at a college in Fort Dodge, Iowa. It was a Wesleyan University, and I got to help bring in everything and set the ring up. And this place was kind of huge too. It was like half the size of, maybe the same size as the Five Sullivan Brothers Center. And it was just that was the first time I seen their 20 by 20 ring. I think it was 20 by 20 ring. And seeing all the guys, showing up and helping out, and it was just amazing. And I wanna learn everything that this business has to offer. And once you become a professional wrestler, even on the indie scene, you kind of want to have that. You kind of want to know everything. You kind of want to know who to help, who to talk to, friends to make, so they can branch out your name elsewhere, not just locally. And that also helps too, like because these promoters see that. They see, hey, Johnny Cass, he showed up about a half hour early before anybody else did. He's ready and willing to help out. I go in, help set the ring up, set the turnbuckles up, the ropes, branch the chairs out, for each section of the building, and get ready for my match, go out there, perform, leave, watch the rest of the match at the merch table, talk to the fans, take pictures, and then when the show's over, I like to help take everything down, put everything back up in the trailers that they have that they haul the stuff in with, and talk more with the promoter about a possible future match, and talk to the other guys that I've never seen before as well that were there at the show, so they know of me, and then they would be like, if they go to a show, let's say in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm not there, hopefully what I show at the show that they were on that with me, like, hey, I know this guy, Johnny Cass. He likes to show up a half hour early, ring set up, seats, all that stuff. He's first person to come, last person to leave. And that's one of the things that I really hope for, and one of the things that I hope they see that I do for every show that I go to.
There been any major injuries or setbacks in your?
Not yet. Fortunately, not yet.
Oh, praise God about that. I'm gonna name some names in the indie that I've heard of. Some professionals, or tag team, Texas.
They sound familiar.
Damian Wayne, the AIWF heavyweight champion out of Nashville, down there.
No, I don't. Doesn't ring a bell.
One guy, I'm just dying to ask if you know this guy. He's not my favorite. Okay, so Johnny Knockout.
I have
No?
not heard of him. No.
Okay, well, hopefully you never do. So, so I got the meat and potatoes here. And I'll end it with kind of like what we've been talking about here. So I have this guy up on my podcast on it.
Oh man.
He'll be appearing on Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. I understand that this coming Saturday, there's a match.
Yes. Yep.
With
Yep.
him, and he says with that Powerhouse Promotions, and he said he likes hardcore, and he wants how do you well it be a hardcore match.
First of all, this guy that is going to be on your show that I have a match with this Saturday, the 26th at Powerhouse Wrestling. I kind of knew who he was, and not really until I went to a Rugged Pro show here recently, and I thought he looked cool. He's got the look. Don't get me wrong. He's different. He has the ability to be somebody. He's just an asshole. He made fun of me because I when I go to shows, I don't only wear wrestling shirts. I wear gaming shirts or pop culture shirts, stuff like that from the 80s and 90s because I'm a huge fan of it. And I don't know, he was just poking fun at me at that last show. I think it was in Marshalltown, and or no, not Marshalltown. It was in Oelwein, Iowa, and he was just a straight up asshole to me. I don't know if we can swear on here or not, but he
Absolutely, man.
just. I
Sounds
knew
like
one day. What's that?
sounds like he's jealous.
He
I
could
mean,
be. He
I
very
mean,
well could be.
I'm looking at your shirt here, and if you can stand up, I think you got your merch, and
Yep.
and if he's making jokes about stuff you wear,
Yeah, he
maybe
should.
maybe that's what his maybe he sees things that you're doing that you're not doing. Maybe he's jealous. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have this belt that's sitting right next. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. But he said he wants to make this a hardcore match. Now let's go back to what in the beginning that what we were talking about about the match that I would have with Jeff Hardy back in his prime when he was a hardcore champion. I was a fan of that era of like the hardcore, I guess Revolution and ECW, which was freaking amazing and it was awesome. It was uncut, raw, uncensored.
Right.
I didn't get the chance to watch most of it, but I seen some of it, and I have always wanted this. It was on a bucket list of mine to at least have one hardcore match, and I want to say to him, if you want it to be a hardcore match, let's make it a hardcore match. And you know what, Joey? I know you're probably watching this, or if you're not watching this, right now you can watch it maybe tomorrow whenever you get up from having dreams of beating me this Saturday. Um, you might want to call me up and apologize. Get my number from Powerhouse. Um, you know what? I'll do you one better since he wanted to make this challenge to me, and he couldn't make this challenge to me in person at the event. Why not just make it a hardcore match? If it's all right with the promoter of Powerhouse Wrestling Extreme, I'll put this on the line. How about that? That's how confident I am in myself.
Nuts. Or not. If you're watching, I'm just that's the challenge of a lifetime, man. Or not. If you're watching this, or if you're gonna watch it later on, I'm gonna send you the link. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna clip this and put it on. Call out Joey Knots.
Real quick, I want to say something too. So the owner or organizer of Midwest Gaming Classic, Dan Lucen, he told me that once I started wrestling, that I can put this on the line in the promotions that I wrestle for. So I got the okay. I have the email. So if you want to make it a hardcore match, that's fine. That's actually a bucket list thing that I wanted to get off or to check off on my list. But if we're gonna do a hardcore match, steal for my title.
Nice. Said you'd be worried. Are you worried? What he said. I can read you the text. I have it right here.
Am I worried? No. Am I? I'm excited. I'm happy. This is something I've been wanting to do. Of course, I might be just a little bit worried, but I never let that get the best of me.
Always says you should be.
No, I think he's the one that should be concerned because I've never been more confident ever since I graduated at the wrestling school, and I've had matches under my belt. I've even had, you know, rumbles that I've been in. It's like each time I have more wins under my belt. Um, I haven't won a rumble yet, but I've only been in 3 of them, and I'm a champion. Right here is proof. I got all
Awesome.
the confidence in the world. I don't let anything back me down. I will stand up and look you in the eye on the 26th at Powerhouse, and I will, if you accept, I will still be the champion. I will stand over your weightless body and hold my belt high.
I will correct myself. He said he wants to be a hardcore death match. How do you
He
feel
wants
about
it to be.
that?
He wants a hardcore death match.
Yeah, that's what he says.
You're on.
Hear that, Mr. Knotts? You're on. He said.
You're on.
Now I have a chance. I told him, I said, I'm going to have a chance to talk to you on the 28th. I asked him, what's it going to feel like to be the loser? Talking content. So
Yeah.
someday down the road, I want to have you two both on. I'm sure if that belt's put up for grabs, a hardcore death match, I feel like there's something going to be brewing up in this. Guys are going to.
Only time will tell.
I'm excited about
I've
that, man.
I've never been more confident in myself than I am now. Every day that I wake up, I look forward to seeing what the whole day has in store for me. I like to go work out. I work 10 hours a day. I work out for 2 hours after I get off of my shift. And I just thank you. That's all I got to say is thank you to Joey and thank you to you. But thank you to Joey for giving me something to check off on my bucket list and something to look forward to this Saturday at Powerhouse.
Thank you for that. Where can fans find you? Where can they find your merch? Where can they find your you personally on Facebook? Are you all over there?
I am on Facebook under Johnny Cass. You can search it on the search bar. Um, it's I have that. I also have Twitter as well. It's just Johnny Cass, and that's pretty much all I have for right now. I as of right now, I'm only selling merch at the shows. But if people want to reach out to me and they want to buy something from me, I will have no problem in doing so, and I will let you guys know what I have.
I did get that Facebook message from you, and I will be hooked. Because I do want some merch from the guy that's going to win the hardcore
Yeah.
what? How would another promotion find you? Reach email? Do you have email? I asked that
Uh,
question because I really do. I strongly like XIW Extreme Impact Wrestling here in Florida. I feel it in here. Down here in Florida, have this fun. They're having a cage. Every title's added in a cage on December 10th, December 9th. Sorry. So, how would promotions find you?
they can either reach out to me on my email, which is retro85gamer@yahoo.com, or they can find me on Facebook. Like I said before, that's where I have all my promo pics, videos, and whatever else have you.
What's your favorite video game, my guy?
It's probably this is see this is what's awesome too. It's like it's gonna be different from what everyone else expects. So this is one of the first video games that I remember ever playing when I was a kid, and I always tried to beat it, but it was hard. It was like one of the hardest games ever. It's still hard for me to beat this to this day. I still have yet to beat it, and it's on the original Nintendo, and it's Air Fortress.
Okay. Classics. I remember the days my brother and I would go battle with play sports games. Always Madden. I remember I could never beat him in Blades of back like
Oh, that was a great game.
yes, I could never beat him. I got pissed off every time we ever played.
Yeah.
He was so good, you know. And there was Tecmo Bowl back in the day. He would drop back and they would like, yeah, that right there, yep. That's the game where you know drop back and you fall and it goes 5 screens, you know, and I'm like,
Yep.
never.
Yep.
I used to play. I play some games once in a great while. I like game to say. I went out and bought WWE 20. Had to have it right. I bought the big era of wrestling. Actually before that was when Sting left and went after. That was the whole thing. My favorite wrestling. So I had to buy it, and I think I played the game. Pretty
You know
sad.
what? I actually bought that for my PS5 as well, the NWO edition.
Yeah.
And I probably maybe put 10 hours into that game, and I've just been too busy with work and working out and trying to
Yeah.
get myself out there to even play it. And when I
Right.
do get the chance to play a game, like I said, sometimes I like to just keep to myself, play games the old school way, and then other times I'll get on Destiny 2 with my friends and family and jam out to that too as well.
Are is it true that you had a podcast of your?
Yes, I've only been able to pump out one episode of it. It's called the Dreamcast Podcast. I I'm gonna try to get back into that once everything starts to settle down in my life. Just right now, I probably won't be able to get back into doing that until spring of next year.
That leads me into my final topics. Hugepop Wrestling podcast fans, I want to say to this, it's an honor to have Johnny Cass on our day of talking wrestling. We're going to have the opportunity, if I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, starting December 9th, Fridays, after SmackDown is over, have podcast during Johnny Cass and myself talking Friday Night SmackDown and Friday Night anything about wrestling. Is that right?
That is 110% correct. That is true.
And we can talk trash about this guy,
I am
Joey.
excited for that. I can't wait. And I absolutely look forward to talking everything wrestling with you guys, and it'll be an honor.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on. And I talked to my brother Matt about it, and he works really early in the morning, and I sometimes I'm grateful that you were in the chat for Fridays about making content for me. Content calls me uneducated Mark. Well, I probably am. I'll be the first one to say I'm a Mark. I am a casual wrestler. Sometimes him and I opinions. I'm a CM Punk fan, an MJF fan. Back and forth. CM Punk. So I just had an idea. CM Punk. Do you think that was? What do you think about him? Are you a fan? Not a fan?
I'm a fan of CM Punk. Um, I just in the ring, I'm a fan. Outside of the ring, I'm kind of iffy. with how he acted at the AEW media scrum from the pay-per-view. Um, it just seemed like he was just too unhappy. Like he didn't even want to be there. And in my opinion, if you're not happy and you don't want to be there, then you probably should have thought about taking that contract offer. Yeah, it probably was a boatload of money, but at the same time, it's like maybe you should have just like took a temporary contract and kind of feel it out first. I mean pretty much like if I would have been in his position, that's exactly what I would have done, like a 3 month or a 6 month contract just to kind of sit there and feel it out, feel how the locker room is, and see how everybody takes to you, and just to kind of be like, hey, I think I want to be here, or I don't want to be here.
MJF, yes or no?
Yes.
Not I.
I'm
He's great.
I'm a fan of his work. I'm a fan of what he can do, and I'm a huge fan of his promo work.
Great.
Like he can cut a promo like no other.
He can cut a promo like no other. I think that's why I like CM Punk can do.
Oh yeah.
I've always liked CM Punk, and I can't say that I'm not a fan of MJF. I think that MJF gets away. I just but he's gonna be good. I'm glad he won the AEW championship. I'm glad that I am a Moxley fan. It kind of hurts me. I wanted Moxley to be under that title. MJF is. We got through that. Before I let you go, this coming Saturday, have any thought something, man? Do you have anything to say to Joe or not?
Joey, you've been a bully to me ever since I showed up at Rugged as a fan, not as a talent, not as a wrestler, but as a fan to enjoy some wrestling. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I kind of wanted to shut you up for a while now, and I get that opportunity this Saturday at Powerhouse Wrestling. You wanted to come on here and make the offer for the match to be a hardcore match. I accepted. Then you want to turn it around and say a hardcore death match. Like that's supposed to scare me. I've been through a lot in my life, and I believe that I've prevailed through every obstacle, good or bad. Like I was telling these guys here on this podcast. At 2020 was my breaking point. Is when I started when I knew I was going to start thinking of myself and my kids only and nobody else and what I wanted. And this is something that I've wanted. This is something that I've worked hard for. And I'm not gonna be intimidated by you or anybody else that wants to try to talk down to me simply because what? I'm a nerd. I'm proud to be a nerd. It's what makes Johnny. This is what makes Johnny Cass right here is being a gaming champion. Yeah, it's a gaming championship, but it's a championship. What do you have? What do you have to show for yourself being in the wrestling business for as long as you have? Do you have a title belt? That's why I wanted to make this offer too. To everybody out there in Powerhouse Wrestling Extreme, if it's all right with you, I got the okay from Dan himself to put this on the line wherever I go. I am confident in myself knowing that I will get the 1, 2, 3 over you, Joey, and I will retain this belt. So if you want an opportunity to make a name for yourself and take this from me, get them to say okay. I'll see you Saturday, and I will be ready. And I hope you are too.
There you go, Johnny Knox. Offer their challenge, whether you accept or not. Well, thank you, Johnny Cass, for being on the show. Hang tight after I hang tight for the minute. I want to talk to you for off camera.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny, for everything. I appreciate your time. Appreciate your humbleness. Appreciate your honesty. Answers. Look forward to December 9th. Forward. You're a great guy, my guy, and out coming Saturday with Knott's ass.
All right, thank you.
There.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Talks. Good time.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thanks for having me on here.
100%. And I can't wait to hear the results. I won't be able to. The sucky part of it is I don't talk to him until the 28th. So, so I appreciate it, man. I have a good night. I will be looking. I think you sent me a text about merch. Wall behind me. Talent goes.
All right.
I got the text. I think you said $10 for a pick for an autograph.
Yeah, I'm gonna include an extra one in there too for your brother. So
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. Good luck this Saturday. And
thank you.
thank you again. I will continue bugging you on Facebook. You're a great guy. I think it's a connect.
Most definitely.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too. You have a good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Recording
How did that